Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of Productive Penguins. We are so glad to have you here. Okay, so don't forget that we do have a giveaway running at the moment. It is the 30-day skincare challenge.
You can win a whole collection of Burt's Bees chapsticks or lip balms, wherever you are in the world, whatever you call them. We're so excited to be giving these away. They're summer favorites in terms of their flavors. So you can check out all the details below for that competition, which ends on
the 22nd of
February. All details will be in the description box below. So what's really cool about this video is I think it's a bit different from how other YouTubers talk about it, because other YouTubers will be like, I wake up at 5 a.m. every single day and this is how you do it. Well, I don't actually wake up at 5 a.m. I wake up at like 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. but I want to start waking up at 5 a.m.
And I started waking up at 5 a.m. towards the end of last year. For a really long time, I always wanted to be an early riser, but I really struggled. And then I took a few steps and I finally figured out how to do it. So I'm going to be able to give you tips that will apply to you, especially if you're someone who is struggling to wake up earlier.
And I will be mentioning some things that I'm hoping to do in order, like my own tips that I'm giving myself to try and wake up at 5 a.m. So you guys can try it along with me and let's just see how we go.
To start with, we want to talk about the benefits of waking up early. And I think the biggest benefit is definitely increased productivity. And the reason why your productivity goes up when you start to wake up earlier is because you are giving yourself extra time in the day. And that time that you're giving yourself is uninterrupted time, because most people aren't waking up at 5 a.m. or wanting to talk to you at 5 a.m. even if they are awake, okay?
I don't want to talk to people at 10 a.m.
So if you give yourself that extra time in the morning, you can, fit in a workout that maybe you weren't going to do after work. You can do some creative stuff that maybe you run out of time to do. You give yourself more power to make decisions that better your life.
And I think it's not a coincidence that every CEO and successful person wakes up. They wake up apparently at like 4 a.m. but that's okay. That's like, once you become a CEO, you can start waking up at 4 a.m. But for really productive people, they do say they wake up really early. And I know that as someone who wakes up, quite late, I do feel like I'm missing extra hours in the day that I could be using to work on something. And the other thing might be is that your whole day actually is full of schoolwork or work or having to get things done, and you don't have time, like some quiet time to yourself where you just want to indulge in a recreational activity or just literally sit there and do absolutely nothing. And that's also the privilege of waking up at 5 a.m. and having that extra hour, even if you leave your house at 6 a.m. or you have to start getting ready at 6 a.m. And the other bonus of waking up at 5 a.m. is that you have actually used up all daylight hours, which means that you have tired yourself out, you have exerted a lot of energy, and this helps you actually sleep at nighttime. Because if you've ever wondered, why can't I get to sleep? Maybe it is because you're waking up late, you're not getting out doing things, you're not moving around enough. So waking up at 5 a.m. kind of, I guess, pushes you a little bit that you need to get out and do some stuff and fill up your day. There's pressure there because you sit there at 5 a.m. and you're like, why did I wake up? What am I actually doing? Oh, let's put together a to-do list and work it out.
So I think the biggest game changer for me was changing my mindset about how you should feel when you wake up. So, if you watch a lot of like transformational or, self-help kind of content, you might be used to hearing people say, oh, I jump out of bed in the morning and I'm ready to go, and they love their lives. And you feel like if you're not doing that, then there's something wrong with how you're going about your day. And that's what was affecting me for a long time. I would wake up, feel so like groggy and sleepy and think, oh, I haven't got enough sleep, I'm gonna go back to bed. Like I shouldn't feel like this. I felt bad about it. So once I let go of that and I said, you know what, you're waking up no matter what, I realized that within about 15 minutes, I actually was fully awake and ready to take on the day. So that is my first tip. Accept that when you wake up, you're not going to feel amazing and it's okay. You have a window of time, like a buffer time, that you need to move around the house and tell your body that you're ready to start your day.
So bouncing off of what Candy said, which is so true, I think that it's actually helpful, and I'm going to be implementing this, to shift the mindset from being stuck on how do I get out of bed, I just want to sleep in, to, okay, I've dragged dragged myself out of bed, I'm really groggy and tired, how do I wake myself up? And I think that creating little rituals to focus on could be very helpful to this process. So doing things like, you know what, when I drag myself out of bed, I do need 5 minutes to sit there and have a cup of tea, and that will wake me up. Or I'm gonna splash my face with really cold water just to wake up. Or I'm gonna stand outside, breathe in the fresh cold morning air, and that's gonna help me wake up. Or maybe you do just, like Candy said, accept that you're a bit groggy, it's gonna take a little bit of time. But I think shifting the mindset, because that's what everybody's always focused on. They're always focused on, I'm in bed and I'm really tired, I just want to sleep in. Gotta get to that next step of how, like, I'm up, how do I stay awake? So I think that's really important.
So you might still be thinking, oh, but if I can't get myself out of bed, how am I going to tell myself in the morning, oh, let's do this, let's do that? And I think the next biggest thing that worked for me was I started putting my phone in another room. So it's just close enough that I can hear the alarm going off, but just far away enough that I have to walk a good distance to turn it off. And by then I'm already up, and I can kind of say to my brain, you know what, you're up now, there's no point going back to bed. I think that's a really good tip. And you can actually move beyond the regular phone alarm and buy a quirky, different sort of alarm that some of them get you to do really fun things. So you might have to chase it around the room because it's rolling on the floor. There's another one where you actually have to like shoot a target before it turns off. We'll find links to all of those and we'll pop them in the description below.
So another thing that I think is really important, and in the past this has actually helped me wake up early, so I don't think it's a coincidence that on certain types of days where really fun things are happening, we don't want to stay in bed, we want to jump up. We're up at like 6 a.m, 6:30 a.m. And I feel like days like that are Christmas Day, Easter morning, I don't know, maybe you have a party on that day and you're just really hyped.
If you're going traveling, I know that I've woken up at 4 in the morning before because we were traveling interstate.
Well, first of all, this shows you that everything just comes down to mindset, to be perfectly honest. There's no biological, drive that's forcing you to sleep in, because those days are proving that you actually can get up early. But what does this mean? This means we need to find really fun things in the morning to do that just, we wake up and we're sort of excited to get up and start our day. Now, I would recommend things like maybe you have a really special breakfast item that you're excited to have, so it's like, oh, I can't wait, just want to get up and have it. Or maybe you have a new product, a shower product or something, so if you have showers in the morning, it's like, oh, I can't wait to get up and try that out and see, like, smell it and just feel good. Other things are, if you're the type of person who works on a lot of projects, I know I feel this way, they actually make me want to get up because it's like, I'm excited to start my day. And maybe you do need to self-reflect and be like, maybe I'm not doing enough in my day that makes me want to get up early. How can I change this? What can I put into my day? And I think that's really important for shifting mindset.
Yeah, and can you see that flow-on effect? So you're not just fixing your mornings, then you're actually fixing your whole life.
Yeah.
Like if you're living a life that you're excited to live.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't see any bad to that.
And I would say that's also why so many like business people wake up so early, because it's like they want to get up, they want to start their day, they want to grind. So that's definitely something to think about.
So in saying that, I think that yeah, you need to prioritize things that make you excited to start your day, but you also don't want to go to the other extreme where you're doing like 5 to 6 things, because if you put too much pressure on yourself, that's just going to make you wake up with anxiety. And what are you going to do? You're going to try to avoid that anxiety by rolling over and going back to sleep. So when I first started waking up earlier, I was a little bit over the top. I was like, I got to do this and that and this and that, because I thought, oh my God, I got to hold on to this extra time that I've created for myself. But you know what? There is something nice about waking up and saying, you know what, I'm excited to read some more. That's one of my goals for the year. I want to read more. So if I know that I have half an hour in the morning where I can sit down and just read and that's it, okay? And then once I'm done with that, then I can maybe move on to something else. But if I get up in the morning and I go, okay, I've got these 3 tasks I need to get done by this deadline and it's really, really urgent, I don't want to do it. It has the opposite effect. So yeah, my big tip is don't overwhelm yourself with how many things you're choosing to do in the morning. Yeah, have a think about what excites you and what your values are and maybe what your resolutions are for the year.
And I think in saying that, one thing that you don't want to happen is you don't want waking up early to feel like a chore. Because when things start to feel like a chore, you don't want to do them. It's that sort of thing of, if you really enjoy something but then you get paid for it, you kind of lose a little momentum and you're like, I don't want to do this. So maybe you could even do things where before you go to bed each night, or even when you are waking up early, reflecting on the really positive reasons you are doing what you're doing and what you're getting out of it, because that way you're remembering you're doing something for you. It's not a chore, it's actually enhancing your life. And I think that could be really useful too, just as like a little side tip.
Definitely remembering your why is so important, because you're going to forget. Your mind's going to tell you why you shouldn't be getting out of bed. But if you have a list written down of why you should be getting out of bed, just to remind you, yeah, that's really, really helpful, and that'll keep you moving.
Okay, so my next and I think last tip here is, and this is what I'm planning to do, and I have used this method in the past and it is useful. It's only about making sure you maintain it and keep it as a routine. So you would mix this in with all the other tips that we have just mentioned, which is something I previously have not done, is gradually wake up earlier. So nobody is gonna go from 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. start to 5 a.m. start. You're going to absolutely just freak out, and that would be the worst thing, I think. Maybe some people are into it, but I think it would be the worst thing.
Yeah, it's a shock.
It's a shock. So what I'm going to do is 30 minutes every single day. I'm gonna set my alarm earlier. 9, 8:30, 8, 7:30, and you know what, before you know it, you'll be like, wow, I'm already at 5 a.m. or even 5:30 a.m. if 5 a.m. is too much. But yes, I think that's really important. Gradually, like, give yourself time, and then, you know, while you're waking up earlier, you can try out different things and see what works for you, what morning routines work for you, what makes you feel good when you wake up, what doesn't. So yeah, just give yourself that extra time to reach that goal.
Here at Productive Penguins, we're really big on avoiding the whole prescription way of productivity, right? Like, it's not about you taking everyone else's ideas and being like, if I don't do it like this, I'm not doing it the right way, so I may as well give up. Like what Brooke just said, you are trialing different systems, you're trying different ways of going about your mornings, okay, and then you're customizing your own routine. And that's what's gonna get you out of bed, is because it's yours. You've created it.
And I think it's so true. I'm just sitting here realizing that, like, a lot of people that push productivity online, they do tend to portray it as like they've already reached that goal, so they've already built those habits and they're waking up early, they're eating those big healthy breakfasts, they're doing their business work like before 9 a.m. in the morning. So it's like you're only seeing people that aren't talking about the struggle, because they're past the struggle and they're not going to show you that. So I feel like we're trying to address all those little struggles, and we're trying to come up with antidotes for them so that you can work past them, and I think that is really important.
Okay, so my final tip is, don't wait for conditions to be perfect before you start. This is a big one for me. I'm always like, oh, well, I can't wake up really early tomorrow because I didn't go to bed and have 9 hours of sleep. You know what? At some point, your brain and your body are going to figure out what works, and they're going to fix your energy levels to match. This was a tip that I had heard online. I was like, oh, I don't know if I agree with that. The person had said, look, don't even worry about when you're going to bed just yet. Just get into the habit of waking up. But then I realized that, yeah, your body is going to expend that energy, get tired when it's supposed to, and then everything should balance out in the long run. So yeah, if you're someone who's like, oh, I can't do it tomorrow because of this reason or that reason, they're just excuses. If you're saying to yourself, I want to wake up in the morning, just do it. And then take notes, think about what worked, what didn't, what you could tweak the next day to get better.
Because there's lots of little things that might come up that are totally unpredictable. Like, honestly, we've just had 2 excessively hot days which have totally screwed up our sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I have continuously just woken up 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 7 a.m. because it's so hot. And it's like, you don't want something like that to throw you off completely with everything that you've worked towards. I mean, look, I think it's fair to say that maybe there's a day where you're like, I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. today. That's okay too. What Candy is saying is, just don't use it as an ongoing reason to be like, well, there goes that.
Don't be all or nothing with it, just get started. And like Brooke had said, like, obviously you see other productivity YouTubers or people who show you their routines and it's perfect, and you're like, oh, if I can't get it like them, then I shouldn't bother. But you may end up like them eventually, but you're not gonna end up like them straight away if you're just starting.
And let's not forget, even the people who make those morning routines where they're up really early, don't forget that it is all about aesthetics, and they probably are still struggling and waking up and being like, okay, another day, let's do this. But they're not gonna show you that because it doesn't look very aesthetic, and it doesn't match in with the pastel blender of juice and stuff like that. I think just use those videos as like, that's the end goal. Like, even though they still have struggles probably and whatnot, maybe they don't, I don't actually know. Use those videos as like, you know how if you want to eat healthy, you probably like, you put up food of really healthy, you put up pictures of really healthy food, and it's just a constant reminder of what you're working towards. Use those videos like that, but don't use them as like, well, I'm doing something wrong because I'm not reflective of the person in the video. Yeah. Alright guys, so those are all our tips for waking up at 5 a.m. Like I said, I want to get into waking up at 5 a.m. so let's do this together and just see how we go. And so that you don't forget any of the really good tips that we gave today, you can go to productive-penguins.com and download a PDF outlining all of the tips in short form, so you can hang it up and you can go through them, try some out, and yeah, just don't miss any tips that we have given today.
There is also a blog post that goes into more detail and gives even more tips about all the things that you can do to make waking up earlier easier for you. So again, head over to our website, that's productive-penguins.com, and everything's there for you.
And guys, do not forget, we are giving away a whole collection of Burt's Bees, so make sure you check the description box below to find out how to enter. And I can tell you now, it's actually incredibly simple, and it can be done in 3 very quick steps.
If you liked this video today, make sure to give us a thumbs up. Write down in the comments below your thoughts and your experiences with trying to wake up earlier, and make sure if you haven't yet to subscribe and press the bell button so that you get all notifications for when new videos come out. And we are also on social media, so head over to our Instagram or our Pinterest pages to give you that inspirational content to get you more productive.
And if you want more resources for productivity, head over to productive-penguins.com and check out the resources tab. Thanks for watching guys, see you next week, bye!